after we broke away, I got in one of the old Chinese holes there with my map and a flashlight and a poncho to get an azimuth for our continuing. And I came out, and I couldn't remember what happened down in the hole, so I got in there with a staff officer, and we came up with an azimuth. And I had the company commanders there, and as I pointed to the azimuth, there was a bright star on the horizon, which everybody said the star doubled in brightness when I pointed to it. So they said, the Lord is with us. I'm sure just some cloud moving or something. The Lord is with us. And so they took off. I had Charlie Company in the lead. This is one of those times when they had to go over some fingers, and going over these fingers, they'd lose sight of the star, and they were drifting to the right down the fingers. And I discovered they were drifting in a direction where we had some prearranged artillery fire. I passed the word up to column. I was behind the first company to halt a column so I could get up and redirect them. And nothing happened. They covered with their hoods, ice all over their face. I guess passing the word just didn't work. So I sent the runner, and nothing happened. And then I took my radio operator, and we beat a parallel trek up to get up to the front, and I found my runner a ways up, and some NCO had pulled him in, told him he was making too much noise and wouldn't let him go. And so I got up the head of the column and got him reoriented, redirected, and off we went in another direction. Meantime, we were receiving a lot of long-range fire. We didn't bump into any heavy defenses during the trek, but we had a lot of long-range fire. And as our radios, of course, wouldn't work in that kind of weather. And as we approached early the next morning towards where Fox Company was, I had to stop because they didn't know we were there. They had artillery support, they had air support, and I didn't want to get under attack from our own forces, so I stopped for the night, and they got 3 or 4 hours rest, crawled into their sleeping bags, and I had to form patrols to make sure somebody was going to watch the full time. And as I got into my sleeping bag, I noticed a Marine up on the rock exposed, and I sat up to tell him to get down, and that's when a bullet went through my sleeping bag and broke the skin on my forehead, one of my narrow escapes. So then I got a couple of hours rest, and we got up the next morning, and somehow my radio operator, Roy Pearl, who just died a couple of weeks ago, got, using a bayonet, got his radio to work enough to talk to Fox Company. And I had tears in my eyes when he called and said, "Colonel, I've got Fox 6 on the radio," and I couldn't believe it. So Bill Barber, who later awarded the Medal of Honor, was Fox Company commander, been up there 4 days under heavy attack, and his company had gone from 250 down to about 50, still on their feet. And his first comment was, "Well, where are you? We'll send a patrol out to bring you in." And I said, "No, you won't." I said, "There's a lot of Chinese between here and there." I said, "I know where you are. I'm looking right down the side of the mountain here. I can see you. So you just hold what you have, and we'll be down there shortly. And just make sure that no artillery or airplanes or anything else come our way." And a couple of hours later, we were able to get down to rescue Fox Company. Most impressive thing was, as we approached, they had killed, I guess, 600 Chinese, and some of the troops had piled them up to use them for protection, dead Chinese. And then they had one tent in the middle of the company area where their wounded, most of their wounded were, and then they had an area where they had a lot of dead Marines. And Barber himself was being carried around on a stretcher. He'd been shot through the hip, I guess. And then with that, I replaced most of their frontline troops with mine, and then I pulled out enough troops to go and drive the Chinese out of the pass The other forces by this time had joined us coming around on the road, since we had removed the Chinese from their path, more or less. Regimental commander told me to lead the way on in to Hagaroo, which was another 8 or 10 miles on the road. We put one of the companies up in the only dangerous place along the road. We put a company up there to make sure it was, and we've received no fire at all. In fact, the regimental commander caught up with me one day, and he was disturbed because 2 of my Marines were firing down the side of the mountain. We could see 3 or 4 Chinese down there, and I said, well, Colonel, it's the first time that this headquarters crowd ever got a chance to really shoot at a Chinaman. He said, well, go ahead then. The follow-on troops took over the guarding of the pass, and they got all the wounded and dead out of Fox Company on the vehicles, and we moved on into Hagaroo, where we were met out in the... We had a British Royal Marine Commando back there at Hagaroo, and it was their job to come out and clear the path for us near the city, so we could, the village it was, and so we got our way in, and an interesting thing happened there. Somebody suggested to me, we've come this far, why don't we go in like Marines? So we had the NCOs dress the ranks and count the cadence, and we marched into Hagaroo in formation, and it really impressed everybody. And after 2 or 3 days, we started fighting our way down towards the sea, and got that done. The regimental commander regimental exec got shot, so I got moved up to take his place and moved away from my battalion. But we got down to the next town was Coterie, where Chesty Puller and his regiment was defending the area, and we joined up there, and then on down through the pass. The Chinese had blown up a bridge. We had to bring in an airdrop to bridge to replace that. My assignment was to personally patrol the road to make sure that the column kept moving and so forth. And we had to push a couple of trucks off a cliff because they'd broken an axle or something. But we got down through the pass, a little place called Chin Hung Ni, where there was a railroad depot from the coast. And they had this train with little flat open cars on it. And I bumped into one of the senior division colonels there, a guy named Snedeker I knew, and he said, Davis, I'm having trouble getting those cars loaded. He said, well, you get some people and get those cars loaded, because everybody on foot is going to ride the train, and those on the vehicles could drive on down the road. Of course, it was a totally disorganized effort, so I found 6 or 8 guys in my outfit, and I put one on each car, and they were getting this train loaded. When across the way, a tent flap opened up, and somebody yelled out, anybody want any candy? Well, these starved Marines got off that train over to what they had were these little 5-inch Tootsie Rolls, and they were just getting hands full of Tootsie Rolls, and Colonel Snedeker was upset with me for not getting the train loaded. So I got some more guys. We went around the back of that tent, cut it open, and got boxes of Tootsie Rolls and put one box on each train car. And they all got on the train. I ate 5 of those Tootsie Rolls on the way to the coast because these guys hadn't had anything to eat, you know. I've told that story so many times that now when we have reunions, the Tootsie Roll Company will send us boxes of Tootsie Rolls for the troops. So we got down to the coast, and they fed us. We had some hot meals there, ate constantly, and got on the ship and ate constantly. But in the meantime, almost 100,000 civilians the Chinese had destroyed their homes and so forth, had come back around through the mountains, paralleled us down through the coast. And we came out of there. I was recently told that the numbers we believe now are that we came out on the ships, we saved 100,000 North Korean people. We saved 90,000 troops. That's North Korean troops plus our troops all got on the ships and got out of there, and it was all made possible because Ray Davis opened that pass. Now I said that's a little exaggeration.
And that's where you won the Medal of Honor?
Yes, and up in the Toktong Pass, rescuing Fox Company, the performance of this Marine battalion earned for me the Medal of Honor. Well, there were two members of my battalion who were awarded the Medal of Honor for out on patrols and so forth, where they sacrificed themselves to save the other people. And in Fox Company itself, there were 3 Medals of Honor. Besides Barber, 2 other guys who had performed their miracles in saving the company after the Chinese had overrun portions of it. They got themselves involved and saved the company. So there were 5 or 6 Medal of Honor involved in that operation.